I always struggled with anatomy, that's why I wanted to study that for a week using my new method of learning that I discovered recently. Basically, I want to learn and fix a couple of things. First, I wanted to get better understanding of proportions because I feel like there's something missing with my knowledge. Second, I wanted to learn about muscles and how they work. And third, I wanted to also figure out how to draw it in a stylized and more appealing way. Now, the plan was super simple. First, I wanted to gather some helpful resources. So I got two books, one from Michael Hampton and one from Taco. Then I got like two courses from League of Legends artists and a ton of YouTube videos. Next I planned what I'll be studying each day, and the first day was about legs, then hips, arms, torso, stomach, hands, and at the end I wanted to combine all the stuff that I learned and draw full bodies to see how much I'll improve on day 7. So no feet this time. Now what's the method of practice that I wanted to use? And it's a super simple method of learning that I discovered just recently. So it's basically just get resources like books, courses, tutorials and like PDFs or whatever. Then you read it or watch it and just try to actually understand the topics that are in the material. Then follow the examples, draw them on your own, take notes in your own words on the side, and at the end apply the knowledge by, drawing from reference, okay, and trying to, apply the stuff that you just learned. So I went to first day, and the first day was about legs. And look at my old drawings that I ever did, I see that I've been avoiding drawing legs. Even when I did draw them, I already see how messed up they are. But there were a couple of things missing. First were proportions, and here you can make the upper leg and the lower leg the same height, about 2 heads each. Also make sure that you can fit a whole head in the thigh from front view, and from side view, just fit the side view head, and lower leg will fit about a half of that. And I discovered that it's also super game changing to group the muscles to simple shapes. It will actually help you with proportions. Also make sure to not make your leg bones super straight, instead add a little bit of angles. So we can see here that it goes in, then out, then in. It's a good rule and it will make your legs more natural and less stiff. Whenever I'm drawing legs, I usually use this shape, which I actually fall in love with. It is super useful to show everything. And then I just add some hints of anatomy to the leg. So I'll add like a sartorius muscle or abductors. Also make sure to make flowy lines in your legs. So make lines flow into each other. You can use CSIs, it's a good tip. Next day was about drawing hips, and I've always struggled with them. I've always struggled with drawing hips, and what actually helped me was simplifying the shapes, and also studying 1010 was super useful. The biggest thing was to actually add those bumps that would hint that there is a hip bone. It would make it look more natural. Also making the widest part of the hips at the pubic level helped me finally figure out where to put it. And next tip is about being intentional with your lines. Adding variety in your lines, like making one side straight and one side curved, but also making lines flow into each other will help you make more appealing shapes. Next I went to arms. So upper arm and lower arm have the same length. Also you can have the same length from shoulder to elbow and from elbow to knuckles. It will be about the same length. And also put elbow at about the waist level. I think that arms are all about simplification and flow, and I recommend starting with cylinders and then adding, shapes, anatomy on top. Or you can just start with a gesture line and then add, more details on top of that. Obviously here, knowing muscles like triceps, biceps, deltoid, it will be super useful to know what and how to stylize. But knowing about brachioradialis was a game changer. It's a muscle that goes from around like here and it goes to your thumb. And actually showing that muscle will help you with making like a really nice shape of the arms. Also with that you can actually show how rotated the arm is. And next I had a day for ribcage and torso. The ribcage takes about 2/3 of the length between the collarbone and the pubic area. It can be simplified to just an egg with a hole up top for neck. Then from the bottom of sternum we have this arch that is bottom of ribcage. And also ribcage is tilted a little bit. And whenever I'm drawing it, I like to start with a gesture line, then add this egg shape, then I'll add neck, a simple trapezius and the collarbone, and also a little bit of shoulders. Now, fifth day was about stomach and ab areas, and I've always overcomplicated this part of the body, which made my rendering much worse. So here we have obliques and abs and a little bit more stuff that sits below that. For shape of the abs, you can do just a simple rectangle, and for females, I like to, make a little bit of indentation, I guess. That's a little bit more like an hourglass. And it's good to think of abs like a pillow, okay? With a button in the middle, so it goes like that. And also you need to pay attention if the body is stretching or bending, because it will affect the shape. Next was day for hands, and I've never actually practiced that. I also always avoided drawing them. I would hide them somewhere. I was super scared going to that day, but I managed to start, which is always good. Obviously, simplifying shapes always helps. And I use a simple rectangle with a triangle on the side. And you can see proportions here. So you can divide hand into thirds from top to bottom, and in halves from left to right or right to left. And the triangle starts from the bottom to about 1/3 of the height, to around 1/3 from the knuckles down. And obviously you don't have to draw this all the time, those guidelines, just keep them in mind whenever you draw. Also, you can divide a hand into 2 equal parts. So from the bottom of palm to knuckles, you'll have 1/2, and from knuckles to top of your middle finger, you have another half. So basically these are around the same length. And drawing knuckles of the fingers as curves will help you place them, because these aren't straight lines, they're more curved, okay? And the fingers also don't have the same length, as you probably know. And fingers I like to actually draw as cylinders with a pointy tips. So one side will be straight and the other curved a little bit, like a knife. Also, grouping some fingers will make the overall shape of the fingers and hand much more appealing. Now on the last day, I wanted to combine everything that I learned and draw full bodies. While I was drawing, I tried to keep all those stuff that I learned in back of my head, but a lot of that went missing. So I did the first one and I compared it to the previous one that I did just recently, but I already saw improvement, which helped me to actually keep going. And what I realized that when I was drawing each pose, I kept jumping to the other one, to the other one, to the last one, to the last one, and I tried to, fix that. And I already actually saw things that I can, fix. But because of that, I've spent much more time than I needed, though it was still worth. But looking back at it, I realized that I didn't really study full bodies. What I did study was about knee up. Obviously, there were a couple of full bodies, but not like standing from feet to the top of the head. So I didn't really notice that. But to summarize everything, I'm super happy how it went and how much I learned in just a week. And it just shows you that you can actually do that in a small amount of time. You don't need like years to learn that. But the biggest and probably obvious lesson from that was to simplify everything to basic shapes. It helps a ton with, establishing proportions, like forms, anatomy and stuff, and just seeing how it will actually turn out. And also how important it is to do intentional lines using CSI and making sure that, you have a variety in your lines, like making your one side straight and the other curved. It will help you with making more appealing shapes, but also will help you to make a flow in your drawing. Obviously, knowing every muscle will help with simplifying, because you know how things look and how they work. And also I'll make videos about how I actually draw them, everything that I learned today, so you can stay tuned for that and subscribe. But you might also like to watch this video where I try to find my art style. You can also check out my Patreon for monthly tutorials and sign up to a waitlist for my face drawing course that I'm doing. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, you can leave a like, comment, actually you can comment what challenge, like what to learn next, and obviously subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. So bye.